Ready to go, right? Are we all set up? Okay, great. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the Board of Selectmen regular meeting for Monday, May 23rd, 2022. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Item number 2 on the agenda, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 10th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any changes, amendments, discussion of the minutes? All in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All right, minutes pass unanimously. Item number 3, just a real quick update on my part. This morning I had 2 interesting events. So the first one was attending the country school had a installation of a witness stone project at Horse Pond, and it is basically a research project about enslaved people in the town of Madison, and this project was focused on a person named Theophilus Niger. And they did a presentation about his life, and then we put basically a plaque and stone that is going to be permanently installed on town property at Horse Pond to commemorate this person's life. It's a really inspirational thing. I encourage everybody to go to the country school and the Witness Stones, actually the Witness Stones website, and it'll explain what the project is all about and who Theophilus Niger was, who was an incredible person that contributed a lot to our community back in the late 1700s. And he originally came here as an enslaved person, so it was very moving ceremony, very interesting ceremony. The second thing I got to do was I got to ride the first electric train to the Shoreline East Railway today.
Wow.
That the state has added electric service now in the New Haven to all the way up the Shoreline East, and so they had kind of an inaugural voyage before we had these very old diesel trains, and so they're installing all electric. And so it was kind of exciting. The governor did a big kickoff in New Haven, and then, I rode the train all the way up and actually stepped off with Senator Blumenthal and in Madison, so that was kind of exciting. It was noted, though, that I couldn't take the train to New Haven because of the scheduling issues, because we don't have a second platform. So I had a lot of conversations with the governor, with the commissioner of DOT, and our state representatives about how important that project is for the town to move forward. We've been kind of beating that drum for the last 2 years, and we're hopeful that we're going to get funding to put a second platform so we can have more consistent service by Shoreline East. And another reason I have this on is we had a lot of talk about bicycle and pedestrian, and we'll be talking about that later. So, but I received that from somebody.
Can I just point out something? And this might have been long forgotten, but originally when the second platform was coming, there was the second part of the project, and that was a double-decker parking. I don't know if it's still there, but I just don't know whatever happened to that.
Well, the whole plan has been sitting in limbo for about 15 years, and with no funding appropriated to it. So I've been working hard to get, I know our representatives are working hard to get funding.
We've been putting it on. It's been on a list. But the problem is too, isn't there an inland wetlands issue too?
There is, and we can talk more about that. There's a whole wetlands issue about adding second platform, but the priority right now is to increase train service to all the communities in the shoreline. So we're hopeful that we can get to that point.
I think we're the only ones without the second platform.
We are the last one now because Clinton just finished there. So, so with that, that's my updates for today. Any other selectmen comments or updates?
I have a quick one. So on the 10th, we had our Madison Youth and Family meeting. I see Mr. Cochran in the audience out there. And we had a lovely presentation just talking about all the amazing work that Neighbor to Neighbor does. So I guess just more of a shout out to Neighbor to Neighbor. The fundraising, the sourcing of funds to support, energy assistance, Christmas of giving, Christmas cards, Stop and Shop gift cards, food insecurities. It is impressive as all heck, and could not be more thankful for Lori Heflin and Neighbor to Neighbor. Crystal DiPietro, also our Director of Social Services, who works for Scott, spent a bunch of time kind of working through and talking through some of the challenges that we have in our wonderful town of Madison, and it was pretty eye-opening. So certainly appreciate that. And then from a Board of Education standpoint, also on the 10th, so I had double duty that same night, there were the student awards from both the high school and middle school. So if you haven't had a chance, take a peek at the meeting online from the 10th. There were some pretty impressive youth in our town receiving CADE Leadership Awards and other nuances that were just, they were amazing. Amazing kids. So it was fun to be there.
I agree, they're amazing. From the seniors services and our assistant directors here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think beach passes are now going to be accepted as of this coming Saturday, correct, Heather? This Saturday they start?
We begin beach passes this weekend.
Did I say beach passes?
Parking passes.
Beach and parking passes. And you can get them online or you can go down to the surf club and get them. And then the only other thing, and Heather's, that I heard was issues with this, every once in a while we see these scams get more and more prevalent, I guess, with emails, and they're really warning seniors and everyone, if you don't know the person, don't open the emails. I guess it's become a real problem again, so they're putting a warning out to our seniors. That's all I have.
The school building committee is meeting intensively, and they're currently interviewing architectural firms, and they hope to make a decision very soon.
Quite a few that responded, right? Wasn't it like 11 firms or something down to 8 that they were interviewing?
A lot of applicants.
Yeah, wow, that's terrific, that's terrific.
With the school committee selection behind us, Scott and I will now be turning our gaze to the Academy Building Committee, and we'll be looking to get that work going imminently soon.
Indeed. We're professional interviewers now.
It's a lot. I mean, it's great to see all these, the public turnout though.
Yeah.
A lot of new names, that's what's
Yeah,
great.
so one of the things that I wanted to mention publicly, because we run into a couple of instances, a lot of commissions and committees have alternate members. And to people, this can feel a little bit like a second string, and it really is not. It's a vital part of our effort to have a fully seated commission or group, not just a quorum or a simple majority of the members. So to those people who step forward and volunteer and accept those alternate roles, they're vital to the continuity of our commissions, and just as important as the voting members, the alternates have a voice, they have an opinion, and when we have volunteers who can't be at the meeting for some reason or another, they're seated and they actually vote. So to anybody who stepped forward and feels like it's a second string role, it's really not. It's a vital part of how we manage town government here. And we try to say that in the interviews, and I think it's just worthy of seeing and appreciating those alternates in this public forum.
Yeah, just ask next time, and maybe you did it with the charter review, but I'd love to get resumes before I vote. I haven't really seen them. And then as far as Academy Building Committee, I have a background in recreation, so I definitely would, and also chaired the Beach and Rec Commission for almost 10 years. Would definitely like to help out wherever I can with that. And then we haven't talked at all about the Academy Advisory Committee. We just we're still doing that, right? Didn't we put that?
So the advisory committee is sort of the hand in glove part of the building committee, and you're right, we don't.
But you've got to put people on it.
Well, we're starting with some people didn't specify which one, so I think they're trying to go through the process and then would isolate the big building committee to get that up and running, and then the advisory committee. So through their interviews, I think they'll try to, because there was some confusion about it, I think, and some people designated, but some people didn't.
That's correct.
So.
That's right.
You know, and I talked to some of the commissioners on Beach and Rec, and the ones I talked to, they want to be involved. They want to be involved with this. This is a great project for them to, and not to stick it all just with staff. So I think we've got a great opportunity here, but this advisory group I think is important too.
And lastly, I was disappointed to learn that we have a staff member moving on. Our HR person is moving on for another opportunity, and while it's certainly a loss to us, I wish her the best of luck, and hope that she is successful in her next challenge. Well said. Right. Well said.
And may I just add one thing? I wasn't, Al, do you have something? Well, you did already. Bruce and I would like to specify a meeting with the five of us, and our labor attorney, or really a charter expert, really just to review the charter. I think we have different views, and I think we could settle it all with one meeting. So anyway, I'm totally open to the date. We can certainly, if everybody's okay with it, we can have Lauren see
I think
what.
that's gonna be part of the discussion.
Fantastic.
A date was already thrown out, and that's gonna be part of that discussion for that meeting.
Oh, the charter. Well, this is strictly going to be for selectmen. I
It's
really had a
because of-
discussion on Board of Selectmen's roles in town. That's really what I've been asking for a few months. But anyway, we've for the charter, we're
Right.
asking for a meeting on just that topic.
Well, I think that the idea was if we're gonna have to pay attorneys to come, we might as well leverage their attendance, so then we would put it together with the same, so.
Well, we can talk about it,
Yeah.
but per the charter,
Yep.
Lisa and I do have the right to call that meeting.
Okay, any other liaison reports or selectmen comments? Okay, with that, I know we have a lot of citizens here, so, and I'm not sure how many are online, so let's start with the room. And please raise your hand, and actually we have a microphone here, and we would request if you could come up just so the camera could get you. State your name and address.
Are you able to show us people that are online?
Is this citizens' comment?
Yeah, and I just request that you keep them
Yes.
to a 2-minute
Yes.
limit if possible, just because we've got maybe a number of people that want to speak. So it's nice to see the energy in the room, and we welcome you here. But we have a long meeting ahead of us, so with that, I guess.
So imagine the podium is here.
Yeah, we lost our podium somewhere, so we're trying to find it. Just raise your hand if you'd like to get up and speak. Okay, yes, so you had your hand up first.
No, they can go first.
Yeah, you wanna go first?
I
Okay,
wanna.
Great.
Ravina.
all right, great, thanks.
Just for everybody, name and address.
Yes. My name is Ravina Soto Dial, and I live at 180 Devonshire Lane in Madison. Is that fine? Yep, that's great. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to thank the Board of Selectmen, the Madison Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and the members of the community for giving me time today to speak about the importance of raising the progressive pride flag here in Madison on June 1st and having it stay up for the remainder of Pride Month. So when my wife and I decided to move to Madison and raise our family here, it wasn't because of the beautiful beaches and the top-ranked schools, it was because of the community. When we were looking for homes, no neighborhood was as warm and welcoming as Madison. The first time we came to see the house, which is now our home, we were greeted by people walking and waving and smiling, and it was an amazing feeling to be embraced. And for many, having the pride flag in their community representing support for the LGBTQ+ community and members, for myself, my wife, our children, for allies, and for the LGBTQ+ residents, those who live and work here, is important. The feeling of being seen, being heard, being respected, being accepted, and being welcomed is what flying the pride flag during the Pride Month symbolizes. Especially now, especially in Madison, especially since the town has adopted a position on diversity and inclusion. I also support and would like to request that the board consider a formal diversity and equity inclusion be a part of the town commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Yeah. What's on the, sorry.
Go ahead.
Good choice.
Thank you. I would take my mask off for a while, so.
Thanks for sharing.
Remember my name and address.
Okay, hi, my name is Joyce Jundler. I live at 227 Mungertown Road. And I am Joyce. I have lived in Madison for a little over 2 years. I am a therapist here. I have a private practice. I also work part-time at Madison Youth Family Services. I work primarily with kids and teenagers and emerging adults, so that's people like under 30. I'm here today to advocate for the raising of the pride flag for the entire month of June, as well as the development of a diversity and inclusion commission for the town of Madison. There is no doubt that in addition to the already existing discrimination against the LGBTQ+ community, the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the record wave of anti-transgender legislation in the US, there continues to be a negative impact on the mental health of individuals, particularly young people who identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community. There is no doubt that we are, and our youth are, in a mental health crisis. According to the Trevor Project's 2022 National Survey on LGBTQ youth mental health, which captures the experiences of 34,000 LGBTQ youth ages 13 to 24, this is this year's, 45% of LGBTQ youth considered committing suicide last year. 45%. 73% of LGBTQ youth reported experiencing symptoms of anxiety. 58% of LGBTQ youth reported experiencing symptoms of depression. Several of the young people I work with identify as part of this community, and I'm here to tell you that Madison is no exception to these statistics. Finally, and most relevant to this proclamation, the Trevor Project's research found that in both LGBTQ youth who live in a community that is accepting of LGBTQ people reported significantly lower rates of attempting suicide than those who don't. By flying the pride flag for the entirety of Pride Month, Madison will be taking a major step not only to show public acceptance and celebration of our community members, regardless of how they identify or who they love, but that they are also actively loved, respected, and welcome here. By flying this flag for the entirety of June, we will not only be publicly stating that we're a community that is accepting and supportive of folks who identify as LGBTQ+, but we will be quite literally saving the lives of young people in our town. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this, Ravina, who has been leading the charge, and I'm just really happy to see so many faces here tonight, so thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments. Any other public comments?
Are you gonna make it over here, Walter, or do we come to you?
Where do you want me?
This is best. This is best, just so the camera can get you and.
Name is Walter Lipman. I live at 11 Sycamore Lane, Madison, for the last 30 years. First of all, I encourage the flag situation. My only question would it be at one place? Would it be only at the flag on the town campus? Or would it be at the surf club? Or wherever else? That's a decision for the town to make, but I have no problem with any of that. It could be flown at every flagpole if the town owns the flagpoles. Anyway, let me talk about why I am here tonight. Actually, I just have to go back to my seat to get something. Thank you. I'm glad we have a lot of citizens here tonight. And one of the things I have talked about in the past is I've tried to get this town to look better. To me, in a lot of areas, it looks like a third world community. If you come off the exit at 61, there's a dead tree there for the last year. Nothing has been done to remove the tree. The grass, when you get off the exits or onto the entrances to the 95, the grass is as high, almost as high as an elephant's eye. However, if you go down to exit 56 in Branford, where the state highway garage is, you'll see a manicured golf course around the facility there. And that's a facility that has the trucks, does not have anybody living there at night. They're not citizens there. They're employees of the state. And I'm glad that that looks good. But why shouldn't our community look great? Also, if you see this is from the Guilford Events magazine. I have been trying to get new signs put up for a year and a half, up by the Route 80 circle, when you come down the Hammonasset Connector, when you come into town on 79, the signs are mildewed, they're dirty, I discussed this with a member, an employee of the town, more than a year ago. Nothing has been done. Guilford's got signs all over the place, not just for the historic district, but all through the community. Absolutely. Number two, Ms. Lyons, a number of times I brought up about how the town looks, etc. And I mentioned before that Louis Crespo is a manager for the state, Andy Proto, and Lino Bruno is the general supervisor. I don't know if you've ever contacted them to do something about the state's responsibility on the entrances and exits, and in regards to Route 79. Route 79 has a whole batch of dead trees from Green Hill Road right down into the town. 3 of the trees lately have fallen back. Although they were state trees, they fell back on the property owner's property. The electric company last week had the wires, the branches by the wires trimmed. But that's not dealing, the electric company is not concerned about the dead trees. The state is responsible for the trees, and John Michael is around here somewhere, I think. There he is. I've spoken to John Michael, and I've spoken to Bruce, and I spoke to Noreen, and they've all tried, and nothing has gotten done. Mrs. Lyons, if you have the ear of the governor this morning, there's no reason why you can't have the ear of the governor on another day and get something done about this. Somebody will be killed on 79 from a dead tree falling. There was a tree that fell on Well Sweet and 79 2 weeks ago. Besides cutting off the electricity, it could have killed somebody. It was completely dead and fell. Citizens of this town, I think we're entitled to better conditions, a better looking town. We vote for and elect people that we expect to do the work for the town and for the citizens of the town. And I certainly hope you would remind the elected officials to do what needs to be done to get this place looking good. If anybody came up,
Walter, sorry to interrupt, but it's been almost 3.5 minutes now. We have other people that are trying to speak.
It's been a year and a half that I have brought this up, and nothing has been done.
I'm just trying to be respectful of everybody's time here. We have a long evening. And so
well, I also gave people the chance. I grew up with 3 sisters, so I know my position. I let the people, the ladies, speak first, and I support what they said, and I said that also.
No,
but
that's great.
something needs to be done. Otherwise, everybody ought to resign. There's nothing getting done. If you can talk about getting the ear of the governor, why can't you get the ear of the governor and get something done?
Thank you for your comments. And I think we've had conversations like this before. We responded via writing, so thank you. Any other citizens' comments?
All right, I'm Bridget. I live in 90 Princess Drive. I'm a senior at Daniel Hand. So I lived in Madison for most of my life, almost all my life. And while I have the privilege of living in this community, with the education system and the mental health support that provides us, it is still very much closed-minded at times. I've seen it in my own high school. We have kids who continue to use homophobic rhetoric and things that are just inappropriate to say. And it's really tough, especially being part of the LGBT plus community and hearing those things and trying to be an advocate. It's really difficult. So I think, if I walked down downtown Madison and I saw a pride flag, being raised and, being a part of the community, I would feel not only accepted, but it would make it seem like Madison is really the tolerant, respectful community that it strives to be. So I think it's really important to have the pride flag. I think having it for the entire month just again acknowledges the fact that no matter who you are accepted, you are important, you are loved. And people who come out of state or are from another country and they come to Madison hoping to have a great summer and, be a tourist, they come to Madison and they realize, okay, this is the community I want to live in. This is a community that, makes change and recognizes citizens, no matter their sexuality, no matter their gender identity. So, while my voice is very shaky right now, I think it's really important, and it would not only make me proud to be, part of the Madison community, but it would just make me proud to be a human being living in a community that is so loved and so tolerant of other humans. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, any other public comment or yes?
I'm just gonna say like 3 sentences and then I'm done. My name is Rosemary Butch. I live at 48 Philbrook Road. I'm a 7th grader at Folsom Middle School, and I think it's important to have the pride flag up for the entire month because for people who are just trying to come out, it can really help them with those first few steps. It can also show Madison support for the LGBTQIA+ community, and it would make me very proud to be a member of Madison. That's all.
Any other, yes? Please.
Hello, my name is Nika Dalvik, and I live at 45 Bartlett Drive. I wanted to say that raising the pride flag for the month of June would be showing our community that everyone who lives here truly belongs here. It shares with the whole town, from those who go to the senior center, those that go to our schools. We support and welcome and love everyone who is part of our community, and I think that spreading this message would be absolutely beautiful.
Hello, my name is Oakley Walker. I live at 39 Stepping Stone Lane. I did not talk with my friends before I came to this meeting, and I'm so happy to see so many of them here, so I will try to keep this brief, as this comes just from the bottom of my heart. I am a Hand alumni. I have lived here my entire life, and I was grateful to be in a graduating class that was accepting, but I have still seen bigotry in our community, and to have the flag up last year was amazing. But it's called Pride Month for a reason. It's because every day matters, because each day lives are being lost and rights are being taken from across the country. And I don't think Madison is one of those places. I'm proud to live here, and I want to see that flag. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Justin Ziegler, and I live at 56 Lake Drive here in good old Madison, Connecticut. And I work with young people in Madison through my work at Madison Youth and Family Services, as well as First Congregational Church here in Madison. This fall, Madison Youth and Family Services conducted a comprehensive survey with our high schoolers. While 9% of our straight self-identified students express severe depression and anxiety, 30% of our LGBTQIA+ students do. While 5% of our male and 18% of our female students express severe depression and anxiety, 35% of our non-binary and trans students do. It is my belief as a professional that we as adults must act. Flying a pride flag for the month of June and creating a group of town volunteers dedicated to the issues of diversity, inclusion, and equity would allow us to move closer to the hope and goal that all children, every single child and family in Madison is seen, loved, and celebrated. Thank you.
Okay. So hi, I'm Heather Arkovich. I live at 671 Green Hill Road, and we just celebrated a year here in Madison. My partner, fiance, and I moved here. I grew up in Milford, and we come from St. Louis most recently. And I'm also pastor at North Madison Congregational Church, the little church at the Circle. And I don't know if we all know anymore, but it was the Puritans and the Pilgrims who came here, right, to New England and colonized the place. Mixed bag there, but we used to call our churches the meeting houses, and we still do sometimes, because they were the centers of our government. And it was later in our evolution that we then developed separate town centers. And I think it's really interesting that now here in Madison, both of our congregational churches, and of course they're not the only congregations, but both are flying rainbow pride flags year round. And I think that's an important witness. It is for our church. And I want to tell you on a personal note, if you were at our first Madison Pride, I was honored to be one of the speakers. And I told the story then that at a previous church that I served, as a gay pastor, I experienced my first completed suicide of a gay young man. And I had not told him, I knew he was gay, and I had not told him that I knew he was gay and that I loved him and it was okay that he was gay. And he didn't know that I was gay because I served a church that wasn't saying it out loud. I served a church that was saying, everyone's welcome here. Why do we need to raise a flag about it? We don't need to put rainbow flags on the lawn. We can just accept everyone. If people know us, they know that we're accepting. And that is the kind of conversation that we have in our churches and in our communities and in our schools, because we think, oh, everybody knows we don't have to raise the flag. But Andrew didn't know. And Andrew's not here anymore. And I had a role to play because I could have made sure that our church raised that darn flag. When North Madison Congregational raised our rainbow flag the first time since my arrival, we received a little note in the mail on blue paper. I don't know who it was from. It turned up in our prayer concerns during worship. That's how it came to me. And the note says, I'm bi, and my parents don't know yet. But every time I drive by your church, I see that flag, and I know it's going to be okay. That somewhere there's somebody who would love me. That's a resident of our city. So it's not neutral anymore when we don't fly a flag. It doesn't just mean, we care about lots of things. If we don't fly a rainbow flag and we don't fly it long enough for it to matter, all the Andrews, that's on us. And all the little kids who send notes to people on blue paper that say, if not for your flag, I wouldn't have been sure I was safe here in my own home. Don't know. And I said, I just celebrated our year anniversary here, and I love Madison. But last year at Pride, we invited 2 drag queens to sort of co-officiate the thing, and one of them was a dear friend of ours from St. Louis. And Des is a person from the non-binary community who's had a rough life, and we really wanted to show them what an amazing community Madison could be, what an amazing Pride could be, and it was a heck of a day. It was a great day. And we came home from a day of festivities, and we arrived home, and as we got out of our car, somebody drove by in the dark and yelled, "Faggot!" at us, at our home, with our guest, who we were trying to heal after that day of celebration. So it's just not a neutral thing anymore not to fly a flag. And we fly flags at the end of our driveway. If you drive by and see us at 671 Green Hill, that's us. We got flags and signs, we got all the rainbow stuff. And they've been vandalized a few times, but it's worth it. And so thank you for receiving us, and thank you all for speaking. We need it all.
Please, no, we're on time.
Definitely put in the timer on.
Please do. Hey, I'm John Michael Parker, 227 Mungertown Road. I have the privilege of serving as your state representative here in Madison and 2/3 of Durham. Thank you to the board for welcoming us tonight and listening. And thank you to everyone who spoke and the young folks that are here and bringing up your leadership and Madison Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I just want to say how supportive I am of the efforts and the asks that are being made to bring the flag for the full month. I understand the state of Connecticut will be flying the flag for the full month above the Capitol. I think that would be a good lead to take, and also the establishment of a commission. As my predecessor Noreen knows well, commissions have such an opportunity to get in and do detailed work and continue it when we're not at these meetings. And so I think something like that in Madison would be very powerful. And as Oakley shared, we know we're in a time when in a month or so we might see some rights that we've all come to take for granted, women's right to choose, turned over, and a whole new set of fights to begin. And as we also know, some of the legal theories that made same-sex marriage possible are based on some of those decisions. So we don't know what's ahead of us, and I think it's more important than ever to be proactive and proud and affirming in our advocacy and support and what kind of community we live in here. So as a proud ally and someone that's grateful for all the work that's happening tonight, I encourage you all to consider these asks with open ears and open hearts. Thank you.
Any other comments from the room? Any other public comment from Zoom? Lauren?
No one has their hand raised.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I'll then with that, I'll close citizen comments. Thank you very much for all your meaningful, heartfelt stories, and we're grateful to hear them, so thank you. So we will move on. We have a few, one item real quickly before we get to the discussion of the proclamation on the agenda, just so bear with us, because we have to do item number 6, which is discuss and take action to approve proclamations honoring Eagle Scouts William Bazinas, okay, Alex Hauser, John Kelly, Jack O'Keefe, Paul Odinek, Matthew Rossi, and Mason Stewart.
Second.
And so with that, we have remember, I have to read the proclamation, don't I, for the record? It's been a while since I've done this. So with that, and I don't know if any of these people is anybody from the Scouts on, Lauren? Wayne Hubs or no?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, all right. So they award these at a ceremony at a later date, but this is a tradition the board has been doing for a long time. Whereas the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Madison hereby proudly acknowledges the outstanding award of Eagle Scout to a member of the Boy Scouts of America, whereas throughout his commitment to a community with a dedication of purpose and a commitment to a high level of leadership excellence worthy of acclamation and praise by this board and the entire community, whereas the board gratefully recognizes the tremendous efforts of this young man, it is with great pride that the board officially extends their congratulations to this newly awarded Eagle Scout and wishes him all the best of luck in his future endeavors. Furthermore, that by the powers vested in the Board of Selectmen by the State of Connecticut and the Madison Charter, we, the members of the board, hereby unanimously acknowledge the scouting achievement of these men. Done this the 23rd day of May 2022 in the town of Madison, Connecticut, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen. With that, all in favor? Aye. Okay, great. So we've got a bunch of these to give out at a ceremony. So with that, we'll move on to item number 7. Discuss and take action to approve a proclamation naming June 2022 Pride Month in the town of Madison.
So in keeping with what we did last year, and in the spirit of the proclamation and inclusiveness, I propose again that we unanimously move the motion and unanimously approve it, just as a show of solidarity.
Let me just Peggy has really asked, do we have to amend this to add the flag?
No, it's part of the proclamation.
Oh, part of the, okay.
So I'll read the proclamation.
I'm sure it's against Robert's rules, but.
Yeah, I think it's great if the entire board can move in second, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great, all in favor, great, okay, now, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the town of Madison is committed to provide an exclusive and welcoming community for all, including the LGBTQ+ community, And whereas their uprising at the Stonewall Inn that started on June 28, 1969 sparked a liberation movement for the LGBTQ plus community and was a call to action that continues to inspire us to live up to our nation's promise of equality, liberty, and justice for all. And whereas in June 20th, President Bill Clinton declared June to be the official Gay and Lesbian Pride Month. June was formally chosen as the month in honor of the Stonewall riots. And whereas President Joseph Biden proclaimed June 2021 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month and called upon the people of the United States to recognize the achievements of the LGBTQ plus community, to celebrate the great diversity of the American people, and to wave their flags of pride high. Whereas the LGBTQ plus community faces discrimination in their families, schools, and communities every day, which contributes to significantly higher rates of suicidality, anxiety, and depression than those who do not. Compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic, the mental health of the LGBTQ plus individuals, particularly young people, is being even more negatively impacted. And whereas research has found that LGBTQ plus youth who live in a community that is accepting of LGBTQ plus, I'm saying it too often, I apologize, people reported significantly lower rates of attempting suicide than those who do not. And obviously it's an important point, so I apologize for that. Whereas all members of the Madison community, including those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, and asexual, have the right to feel safe, not to be discriminated against, and to live without the threat of harassment. And whereas supporting Madison's LGBTQ plus community aligns with the town's objectives to co-create a more inclusive and equitable community that promotes unity and honors diversity. And whereas the LGBTQ plus community has made great strides, however, work remains in order to achieve full equality, inclusion, and acceptance. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen, do hereby unanimously declare June 2022 as Pride Month in the town of Madison and order the flying of the Pride flag outside Madison Town campus for the month of June to show public acceptance and celebration of the LGBTQ plus community and to honor the ongoing civil rights movement done this 23rd day of May 2022 in the town of Madison, Connecticut. With that, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. So the motion passes. I want to welcome all of you to attend the Pride flag raising ceremony. We'll try to figure out a time that works best, but it'll be June 1st. Similar to what we did last year up front of the town campus here where we will raise the flag. So more details to come here quickly, we'll work it out. But thank you very much for all your efforts and sharing your stories with us. It's greatly appreciated by very much by all the board members here, so thank you. Okay, great, so we got the proclamation. So I don't know who this goes to, but do you have a place to put for anything, but we'll figure it out later, so.
Yeah.
Does that, do we figure that out?
Well, I'm just trying to think about that.
It goes to you,
Yeah,
so it goes
yeah.
to.
The Madison Diversity and Inclusion Group was the requestor, so,
Alright.
so with that, you can frame it.
We like to see it.
Yes.
Put it in the paper?
Yeah.
Or just for your own. Why don't you read the proclamation?
Proclamation, hold it,
Yeah.
and have everybody come up. Have all of you guys come up.
That's a great idea.
Hang with us.
Actually, why don't we go there? You're right.
Right in front.
You need a fellow on top of it.
Yeah.
You wanna hold it? Do this, get more board maybe over here, that's probably what I do. So. All right, great.
Hold on, wait a minute. As a woman, I know better than to be closest to the camera. There's no way.
I'm sucking it. Everybody's here. Where are we looking? It's private. You, wherever you want to. It's private. Start over here and then go this way.
Yeah.
Everyone say pride!
Pride!
Thank you all.
What a team.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Well, the next item on the agenda is something I think is interesting concept, and that is item number 8. Oh, wait, I'm getting confused, because I thought we were doing the pilot program first, okay. Discuss and take action to approve the adoption of a pilot program to establish a community crosswalk. Can I get a second?
So, second.
Yeah, I know, okay.
Whatever you need,
Yeah. Because I thought we were doing the community flagpole first, I missed that.
I think, excuse me,
Yep.
can we let everyone go? If anybody who doesn't want to stay for the meeting, we have 30 items, but you're welcome to stay.
I think the next 2 are of interest, actually, to the group here, so, yeah, and then it should be fairly quick, but so, item number 8, so can I get a second for my motion?
Second,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so discussion. This relates to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, and originally had started with the Madison Diversity Inclusion Group at a request to have a Pride crosswalk. And it was brought to the board last year, and I think the view was we needed a policy for something like that. And so we gave that to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee to come up with a recommended policy. And I think we have the chair of the committee as well as other members possibly. Lauren, if you want to invite Ginny up. And we also talked about this at our meeting last month about establishing what we call a community crosswalk, and some groups can apply to basically have a crosswalk designated for whatever the community request would be. And so the first idea was the Pride one. So once we establish this, there'll be an application process, and the Pride and Dick can go through that application process. And so we've basically chosen a location between the Senior Center and Academy ball fields, but with the idea that eventually we want to start moving things towards the new community center that's being developed. So we'd probably look at a new location, but we thought we'd do a pilot program to see how this works out. And so Ginny and her committee had recommended kind of a policy that the board has seen draft of all that, and if we approve this tonight, then it would lay out the process of which your group could actually apply to have a Pride crosswalk done in town. So with that, I don't know if the board members have any questions for VPAC or anything on the crosswalk. Yep.
So I have a bit of a late suggestion. It's something I've brought up before that's, I just haven't quite been able to get my arms around it, and that is the 1 year with the renewal. And I'm thinking ahead to a time where we have multiple applications. The way this reads, it suggests that it's the group that has the crosswalk can keep it. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't put some caveat in there that if there's another group applying, that they would have some rights, and maybe it's the same group can have it for up to 2 consecutive years or 3 consecutive years, and then the next group gets it.
Mrs. Lyons,
So
if I can interrupt for a second, the Madison Police Commission is the traffic commission for this town. Mr. Goldberg knows that.
I know that, and they recommended that this come to the Board of Selectmen, so
I'm
that's
sorry,
the
I couldn't hear
process.
it. I couldn't hear
They
you.
recommended that this go to the Board of Selectmen, so this has already been reviewed last year, and they've suggested that we go through the process that we're going through now. I read the regulations more that there's a 60-day window to request the renewal, but they don't have to approve them. So I guess I'm just assuming other people can apply too.
So I think that
Yeah,
a
it's not
very,
clear
very,
enough.
very
Yeah.
narrow reading does supports that
Yeah.
perspective, but as this is a public document and
Yeah.
why create heartache?
Policy.
Yeah.
Right, so I think we have we can.
Is there a link, something you would, I'm just saying, is there something you suggest to make it clear, like a sentence that we can amend, that would just say that, or just saying it.
So I think I would suggest that in the event there is another application, the group that can have it for 2 consecutive years, and then consideration would be given to that other petitioning group. I think 24 months is a reasonable time.
Yeah, very reasonable.
Of course, if nobody else comes forward,
Right.
it can be there in perpetuity. It doesn't matter. It's really about.
Well, Bruce, could we have a policy on the banner across town hall, because that comes out of this first selectman's office. We have or just the same group gets it the same week every time. Do we have anything?
It's kind of a permanent application that goes through Lauren, but,
It's first
yeah.
come, first served. I open it for the following calendar year on January 1st, the year prior. So for instance, on January 1st, 2022, I open the schedule for 2023, the whole year. And it's based on who gets to me first. It is a 1 week permit. And the only way it stays up for longer than 1 week is if no one else books the week after. I will leave it up for an additional week if there's no other interest. That being said, of course, the banner permit has been broken for a couple months and we're not hanging anything, but that's what it would be if we had an up and running banner permit.
But it does say that one group doesn't, you know, they got that crosswalk location or the banner, they don't have it forever.
So there are groups that book the same week every year or about the same week. You know, we have kind of the same groups that request the banner space every year. But if someone new were to come in and get in first, they would get preference, you know, to having their banner hung up.
So it'd be the same thing for us. If they could come in and get.
The difference is it's painted, it's painted on the.
No, I
thing, so yeah.
But I mean, a new group coming in after whatever time we decide would have a complete right.
So what, were you able to make sense of my proposed amendment? What did we say? I've already forgotten it, so.
I think I have it.
You have it?
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow if I don't.
Okay.
So it basically clarifying that the, if there is an additional applicant, that the current sidewalk designer, whatever they call applicant, where it's there, could only have 2 successive years.
So it's 24.
But, I mean, this has to be an approved applicant, though, it can't be anybody, right? So that's where the B package
Yeah,
is the process, right?
so,
Yeah,
provided they meet all the other
Right,
thresholds that,
right.
yeah, that.
Right.
I think the only other thing I would add is I think it's important that we recognize the memo we received from John, who's hiding in the back. So, these things are not without some DOT controversy.
Yeah.
I don't think the crosswalk police are gonna start chasing us down over this, but the strict reading of the federal crosswalk guidelines that this doesn't really meet. We're acknowledging that, I think we're acknowledging John's opinion and still think that this is the right thing for the community to do and
there's
comfortable
precedence.
that we're not creating an unsafe crosswalk.
Especially in the location that we've chosen.
Right.
So, it was thoughtful.
Safety's everything.
Yeah, absolutely, so,
I think Bruce's suggestion is a fine one, and I think we should lightly edit that one sentence.
so a motion to amend the pilot program, well, we can adopt the pilot program, right, and just make an amendment
As
to the
amended.
policy.
Just as amended.
I mean, the motion is just to adopt the pilot program with amendments to the policy.
That's fine. I think we're all in
Yeah?
agreement.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Pilot agreement.
Okay, so with that then, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, motion passes unanimously, great, all right, excellent. So this group here, there'll be an application available soon, and you can apply. So item number 9 is discuss establishment of a community flagpole, and I think this was a great suggestion by Bruce, because of we want to be open to all different groups that have different visions of what they'd like to see flown from our flagpole. And creating something more of greater visibility downtown, we thought about, and maybe locating that also at the Academy Community Center, so it's kind of a community celebration event. That'll take some time, so that groups like yourselves and other groups who might petition to want a flag flown for other purposes to celebrate, their heritage or their whatever means, would go through a process. Because as I've learned here, and I know this board is very experienced, knows that you set precedents when you do these types of policies, and you want to make sure that things are very carefully thought out, which Bruce demonstrated on the crosswalk program. So I would recommend that we start down a flagpole policy and then create a application process as well for that, so that the board could weigh in and have the same standards that we would apply to all groups looking to hang, and then we'll pick up a location as well for that process. So that's why we put that on there, to know that's coming, okay?
Is there an existing flagpole, John, at Academy? Is there an existing flagpole down there now? It's one of
Honestly, I
the
don't know, Al.
trees,
I
but
think it's behind, I think it's by the ball fields. It's on the backside.
otherwise we should, suggest to our building committee for Academy that they need to include
Yeah.
a flagpole.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Well done, Al. Look at you making the connection. Nice.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here to create something welcoming and open to a lot of different organizations that want to express something in town and be in the center of town as well. So we'll follow up on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, super idea. Love
Okay, great. So now I would say you probably, but you could also stay for affordable housing discussion. So, which we had a hearing earlier, but item number 10 on the agenda, and thank you all for coming very much tonight. Thank you. Discuss and take action to approve and adopt the draft affordable housing.
Sign on.
So moved. Second.
Okay, great. So obviously this is the follow-on to our public hearing earlier this evening and our meeting with the planning and zoning. And I know there's a lot of things that are going to be talked about, changes that we're going to want to make, recommendations and strategies, but this is kind of the first step. Shut it down, thanks. This is kind of the first step, and also we have to adopt this by June 1st to meet our requirements under the state legislation. So by no means does this mean this is going to be static. It's going to be kind of a living, breathing document that will be evolving over time. But so any comments that the board would like to make on the plan and more discussion, or are we comfortable just adopting it as presented?
I just want to say, I think this committee did a great job, and I know they got a lot of professional help. Erin, thank you you came midstream, thank you so much. I think it's a great, it's a great first step, and as you said, it's something, maybe it's not a totally finished project, but, we have to have a plan. We just, we worry about what our town's gonna look like, and you've seen some of the scary stuff that's come out of Hartford. We get a plan, we can be, we can decide our destiny and do what's right for the town, for people that really need more housing in our town. So I commend the committee. I think they did a very good job.
I'd like to second Noreen's comments. This committee tackled a very tough assignment, and I think it's produced a document which is very actionable. It's very usable. It's laid out implementation steps for us, timelines, and it's laid out policy goals and directions. And of course, it's also suggested we need to name a permanent committee, which I think we probably all knew would be the first recommendation. But I very much endorse this, and Peggy, our action tonight does not commit the town to everything that's in the plan. It just commits us to moving in this direction.
That's right. That's right.
He had presented the plan to the state.
Yes.
So submitting it to the state.
Submitting.
I echo everything that my fellow selectmen have said as well. I really think standing up a standing committee is smart. I think that's a really good move for us to keep the continuity going, keep the momentum going. I think there's a lot of decisions that still need to be made when you get into each one of these. There's probably some fine nuances that we need to look at, but I am beyond thrilled with the work that this committee did. It's impressive and far, far overdue. So.
Great. I think it's a fantastic work, and I learned a lot, to be honest, because there were things I didn't understand about zoning, didn't really understand about the town housing situation. So I think there's also the educational component to this that is going to be beneficial for just getting it out to the public. It would have been nice to have more engagement from the public, but I think as we get into some of the specifics and action items, that's when we'll start hearing from the public, right? So I think we've got a great document to start. So I think.
I just remind us that the public's participation in developing this plan exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, that's true.
We never get that many people.
It's
Yeah.
more than 800 surveys right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Didn't get that many people voting for the budget.
Where's the drum?
Okay, well, I guess with that then, if we're not gonna make any amendments or changes, I guess, all in favor of approving and adopting the draft affordable housing plan as presented by the Affordable Housing Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, plan passes
All right.
unanimously. I don't know if Sarah or other members are online still, but thank you so much for your hard work. Congratulations, and for those members here who have stayed for the long haul. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
You can check this one off your list now, but we'll have lots more to come, so I appreciate it.
Just get ready for the next committee.
So, and I might be not understanding it, but out of this also, we will have a staff member, and I know it's been very gray, murky area, who really in town is the go-to person in housing. I'm sure Aaron and Heather both have seen that, because I still get calls, especially if they're trying to sell affordable housing, I get the calls. But you know, I think having a go-to person that really specializes in it is really a step we have to take.
Well, I think also too, the collaboration with Scott and his team at Madison Youth and Family Services is critical to this because it's the voice of the customer, right? So it's receiving the conversations, the interest, the understanding, and then working collaboratively with our town officials as well as work. So
I missed a chance to volunteer Crystal for this particular.
I just did, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We voted? Yes, so we're done. Okay. Great, thank you so much. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 11, review charter process and timeline and take action to set a Board of Selectmen public hearing date. So.
Is the public hearing on the charter?
Yes, you need
so-
to hold a public hearing on the draft of the charter. So in your packet is a timeline that I proposed for how to move it forward, and I'm proposing that you have your public hearing on the June 27th evening prior to your Board of Selectmen meeting. Is everyone okay with that?
So can we put up the, well, can I get this, it's just a discussion. Can you put up the timeline on the screen? Is that, just so we understand, we're kind of, this gets back to what is our goal? If our goal is to get this on the ballot in November, we have to have everything finalized for that by the end of August, early September, because the state has to approve anything that goes on the ballot. So that's really gonna drive our timeline, which means we really have to move things very quickly to get this to the November ballot. So I think that's part of what we need to kind of wrap our minds around. If that's what we're gonna try to do, then you know, we kind of gotta have, we have to really get things rolling pretty quickly. And so setting the public hearing kind of, we'll set a little bit, and then we're having this meeting next week for us to talk about things and having, I think Joe, the charter review chair is coming, and other members of the committee, as well as the Ira, it can't make it, right?
I can't get everyone in the room. Right now, it's looking like the 31st in the morning because that is when Joe is available. Then Joe goes on vacation for 10 days, and the attorneys are not available until Joe is on vacation. So to keep the process moving, we would do a meeting next Tuesday morning with Joe. You can ask him questions that you have about the draft, that, you know, why did the committee get to certain changes, how they made their decisions on certain items that you might want clarification on, and then we'll hold another meeting with Joe and the town attorney when Joe returns from vacation, and then you guys would hold a public hearing, and then you would have to get your changes back to the Charter Review Commission by July 11th.
Yeah.
So that's the time frame that you have to make any changes to their draft. You send it back to them. They have, I believe, 30 days. Yeah, they have 30 days to review your changes, accept them or deny them, and send the document back to you. That would become the final document. And your decision-making after that final document is returned to you from the Charter Revision Commission is either to send it to referendum or not.
Laura, focusing on the public hearing, which I think you suggested maybe June 27th, we have no idea how long that hearing is going to take. And we experienced something tonight where we may or may not have run out of time. I'm worried that if we schedule that hearing before the Selectmen's meeting, and that hearing could possibly go very long, that we're going to get flummoxed again in terms of
Yep,
we
so
could
here
meet
is,
our obligations. We could adjourn,
yes.
start the Selectmen, adjourn the Selectmen, and go back to the
Yes.
hearing.
You will not have a town meeting that night in addition to the public hearing. So that's what was the issue tonight, is that you also had this very important town meeting to approve a bunch of year-end special appropriations. You will not have that for June 27th. It will just be the public hearing and your regular meeting, and we can go back and forth back into the public hearing, continue it, and then adjourn to the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen, whenever the public hearing naturally ends.
Okay.
Then we'd have enough time, as Al was
Yeah.
saying, we need, okay.
My only worry on the back end of July 11th is that week, that first week in July is a very popular vacation week for a lot of people, so myself included, just put it out there. And that's the Monday, it's due on that Monday directly after, so.
I mean, and that is, we have to do it because of the 45 days, right, after the 28th, which they have already voted to send to the town clerk, right? So that's kind of requiring us to have that. I'm wondering, can we set the public hearing? We're gonna have this meeting next week, hopefully, and we'll get a better sense of where we all are on this, right? I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of like changes that want to be made or discussion items, or we haven't really had a conversation about it. We've just kind of been intaking things and not really discussing them. So,
we could always set the public hearing and then move it.
Yeah.
If that's what it
yeah,
comes down to.
that's what I'm thinking, because this is such a tight time. I hate to defer and delay. At least we can get it on the calendar, and then we could always change it if
We could always have a special meeting to have a additional discussion if we needed it.
Yeah.
Yes. The real thing that we have to just be mindful of, I think Patty already said it, is that August 24th date is when the town clerk needs to get the questions to the state. So there really isn't wiggle room for that. You want this on the November election, which I would recommend, since you have to have at least 15% voter turnout in order for anything to happen with this document. I think that is the goal we should try to accomplish. That 8/24 date is what we really are working back from, not November. It's that 8/24 date.
Could you just say that again, Laura, about the 50%, I think that's important.
15. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in order for any action on the charter to be effective, there needs to be at least a 15% voter turnout at referendum. And that's state statute for charter revision.
And that's like for budget, right? So
Yeah.
it's for budget, so
Yeah.
we gotta figure out a way. I think there needs to be a little bit of a communication strategy here to get people out
Well,
to vote.
if it's at the time of a big
The general election, we're gonna get the turnout.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the turnout.
That's true, that's true, general election.
But that's where if we feel this is too compressed for us to weigh in on the charter, if we can't do, we're not gonna be able to get it, we'd have to do a standalone. Or we'd have to
We don't
punt it
wanna
all
do
the way to May. So, I think our goal is to try to get it on the November ballot. Why don't we set the public hearing, and then we have our meeting next week, and have a sense of where everybody is, and then, go from there.
Okay.
So to do that, do we need to,
Open the agenda, do we have to do that, or can we just do it?
No, your agenda says, doesn't it say,
does it
and
say
take action to
Take
sell?
action
it
on
it does, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I make a motion to, set a Board of Selectmen public hearing date on the charter, review. What do you call it? On the charter, changes to the charter?
Yeah.
Or, charter, changes to the charter, on, June 27th, 2022.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, great, so we've got that set at least, and then we'll try to get, one or two meetings in between that, get a better sense where we are, on that. And then if, then we'll just deal with it later, if it's not, we'll have to have another strategy if we don't think we can make the deadline, so. Okay, good, thank you, Lauren, for this, and then we'll get moving on the other stuff. Okay, moving on to item number 12, discuss and take action to approve awarding the contract for the permanent pavement repair program to the low bidder, William M. Layden Construction LLC of North Haven, Connecticut, for the contract unit price of $7.33 a square foot.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions, discussion? I know that John has been very patiently waiting here, so,
Mind you, where is this? Where is this being done?
What this is for work within a road right of way. If somebody's putting in a service like a water service, the contractor is required to get an encroachment permit to do the work. So they install whatever utility it is, and then patch the trench with a temporary patch. And what we do when we get the encroachment permit, we collect a fee for the permanent pavement restoration. And the trench will sit for a year and allow it to settle. That gives us it gives a year for it to settle, and then we take the money from the encroachment permit fee and hire a company. The town hires the company to go around to all these various areas and make a permanent patch. And it allows us to control the quality of the patch, so that if we put that in the hands of each individual contractor, you get a variety of sort of quality of work. So
and this is
that's
ongoing. This is contractors being hired for ongoing
ongoing work. So right now we have a dozen or so locations that when we hire a company, we're going to send them out to go and remove the old temporary patch and replace it with a permanent patch and with a higher level of quality. So,
John, what do you make of the fact that we seem to have only gotten 2 bids, and they were both from companies that all have almost the same name?
They're related somehow, I believe. Okay. But they're
both
They talk to each other.
They may not.
One's the husband, one's the wife.
It was advertised on the state DAS website. We got just the 2 respondents. Actually, we're happy with the price that we got.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm surprised there weren't more bidders.
Yeah, no, we received, we had actually a pre-bid meeting for our brush removal at the dump, and we had 7 contractors come out. So, yeah, I'm not sure why that is. It's kind of specialty work. These companies are really geared to do this type of thing. They have equipment that can, put down a nice patch, and they're small areas, and they're kind of like spot paving, I guess, if you will. So that may have something to do with it. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, any more questions on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, great, thank you. Item number 13, discuss and take action to approve routine line transfers totaling $669 pending a Board of Finance approval.
So moved.
Second.
And
I was confused because we've got a couple in here that don't seem to be included. We've got a second one for $693 and then another one for $81.01.
I only saw the 690, 669. Was another one?
669, yeah, attached is a
Stacy's online.
693. Is Stacy here?
She's online.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another one.
Yeah, there were 3 total.
Yeah, but the one on here is only the 669, so.
Maybe later in the agenda.
Stacy hiding?
She has
There
to
she
just
is.
move
She's
herself
probably
over
in
to
bed
the
at this point.
No, it may just be that I didn't realize it was more than 1 page.
Okay, so.
Yeah, there were 3 or 4 pages in that, so we'll do this next round.
Want to do the 669?
You want to just give us the total?
So I'll move an amendment to include $693 in the registrar,
You said 81.
and then $81.01, $8,101. Again, in the registrar's office. So it would be 3 separate line item transfers. Is that all of them, Stacy?
I don't have them in front of me, but I think there were 3 or 4 in the packet. Lauren, can you confirm?
There are 3.
There's 3.
Yep.
Yep, so we got, okay.
So 9,463 is the total. You want to just make amend the motion to approve line item transfers totaling
Yes.
9,463.
So moved.
Pending Board of Finance approval.
So moved.
Done.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good catch. All right, item number 14. I think there was 2 things on here that I needed to amend. That there was just some, there way it was written.
14 is fine.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, 14 is fine. It was 15 and 16 that we just needed to revise the language. Yeah.
Okay, so item number 14, discuss and take action to approve the inclusion to the classified plan, the job description of parent support counselor 1, salary grade 8. The position is budgeted for hire as of July 1st, 2022 and recommended by the job evaluation committee.
So moved. Second?
Okay, any questions?
May I just ask, this was in the budget, we passed this in the budget, do we also pass benefits or are they all part-time?
No, these are full, we did not for the parent support counselor, we did not make that full-time in the budget. That's still a part-time position.
So, but anybody we're making full-time, we budgeted for their benefits in the budget?
Yes.
Perfect.
I can, if you want me just to explain these, that you can fly right through them and vote for them. So what we did was we took our clinical positions, we have 2 of them, the parent support counselor and the school-based clinician, and we're tiering them. So the first tier, which is the 1, is an unlicensed, so that's a newer clinician that we would hire. The tier 2 is for somebody who comes in as a licensed clinician. That is to make the job more marketable and quite frankly, a little more fair to keep it, compensated at a decent rate. So that's what we that's what we set out to do with these 2 positions. So what you see in the next, these 4 items, there's 2 positions, each of them tiered 1 and 2. When you get to the staff, when you're starting to name Taylor and Aaron and those in items 18 and 19, that's just placing our existing employees into the new created salary, correct, grade.
And the positions they hold now prior to this go away, this takes the place of it?
Yeah, and all that we changed in the job description was just tiering them for licensed and unlicensed.
Let's fly through them.
Okay, so item 14, I already read that. We have a second. So all in favor of approving item number 14, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item number 15, there is going to be a change though in terms of the last sentence, because that was a mistake, I think, to put that in there. Discuss and take action to approve the inclusion into the classified plan, the job description of parent support counselor 2, salary grade 9. And then I was told, so it's not budgeted for hire as July 21st, right? So.
Yeah, it is, it's in the budget. It's
Wait,
a
I'm a little
vacant
confused.
position.
Why was this?
It's a vacant position, so we filled it, this year we filled it with a temporary employee. So as of July 1st, we have that line budgeted, it was passed in the budget. It's a
Okay.
part-time position.
Well, that's why I'm a little confused. Stacy, what was it you were saying that the language? in
Yeah.
it-
Yeah, so the parent support counselor right now is budgeted at a grade 8, which is item 14
Right.
for part-time. So item 15, I know Scott went to the JEC, I wasn't part of it. However, we got the counselor Roman numeral 2 approved, but that's not included in the budget. So going forward, if we do want to fill that position, it is now approved by you guys, but that's not included in the budget for next year.
But
So I
the
just want,
for the position.
for the position, yeah. So the actual position is approved by the JEC, and we want the Board of Selectmen to include that in the classification plan, but that's not included in the budget. So the agenda item is fine, other than the last sentence saying that it's part of the budget.
So essentially, if we wanted to hire, the next person we want to hire, we would have to hire them at the parent support counselor 1, which is a grade 8. Because that's what.
Correct. That's what's in the budget, Scott. All I wanted to delete was that the counselor 2 at a grade 9 is not included in the budget. That's all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I see, because of 16, so, okay.
So we're approving a job
Or
description.
not 16, but yeah,
That has no budget.
that has no.
Correct.
Okay. Just
Someday out.
locking it in for the future.
Okay.
Yes. Well, we wanted tiered 1 and 2.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. You
Just a
want to create that
structure, yeah.
differentiation between.
So did we already
Yeah.
motion
So-
and second it?
So I need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so moving on to item number 16, there'd be the same amendment. Discuss and take action to approve the inclusion into the classified plan, the job description of school-based clinician 1, 37 and a half hours per week, salary grade 8.
So, why is it 16 is 8? Sorry?
Great, salary grade
It's the
8,
same thing
8.
though, it's not in the budget for that position, the grade 8 position, but the grade 9 is, right? Because we.
Correct.
Correct, so now we've just got the lower position there, if at one point he can fill it and get approved to the budget, so, okay. Okay, any more discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, great. And then item number 17, discuss and take action to approve the inclusion into the classified plan, the job description of school-based clinician 2, 40 hours per week and 37 and a half hours per week. There are 2 employees moving to this position, salary grade 9. The position is budgeted for hire as of July 1st, 2022, and recommended by the Job Evaluation Committee.
So moved.
And may I just ask, these 2 people, employees already are part-time, we're moving them both to full-time?
No, they're both currently full-time.
Just say second.
These are 2
Just
employees
second it,
moving.
too.
There.
We can second it.
Yeah, we
Let's
got a
second
second,
it first before we
somebody
discuss.
second it, and then we'll
You did
discuss.
second, someone
No,
seconded it.
I motioned it.
I thought somebody seconded, I'm sorry, but it's not, but you did. Anyway, so they're full-time already, and there's, it's just the way it's worded, I missed it.
Yeah,
Moving to this position, okay.
they're both, this is part of the reason
We're
why I
hired
wanted
to
to make
do
this
this.
change. They're both actually grade 8 now, and they're both licensed, and they've been with us for quite a while. We had a precedent of a family therapist position that was a grade 9, and the only difference was the grade 9 required a licensed person. And when we moved to this new matrix in 2016, we had created this 8 as a frontline clinician, which I argued at the time, but it's just taken a few years to get this up on our list of priorities to fix. So now we have an unlicensed person coming in at 8, and once you're licensed, you can be in.
Halfway to, yeah, okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, great. Item number 18, discuss and take action to approve the hiring of Aaron Corbett to the position of school-based clinician 2, 40 hours per week, salary grade 9. Position is budgeted for hire as of July 1st, 2022, and recommended by the Job Evaluation Committee.
So moved.
Second. So is this
Okay.
change effective July 1st?
Yes. Yeah, with the budget.
Yeah, this was part of the budget.
And what was her title before, what's her title?
School-based clinician.
And she's gonna,
Now she'll be a school-based clinician 2. The second.
so it's
tier.
just the 2, okay, good, okay.
Finesse.
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 19, discuss and take action to approve the hiring of Taylor Scalia to the position of school-based clinician 2, 37 and a half hours per week, salary grade 9, position budget for hired as of July 1st, 2022, and recommended by the Job Evaluation Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, same scenario we just talked about. All in favor, say aye.
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 Scott, it took me till we got to 19 before I got it.
It's confusing.
Me too, Noreen.
I know, we talked about this a while ago, so I was kind of like, what is this again?
Budget cycle, right?
This is.
You're not allowed to come to the Board of Selectmen meetings anymore.
You had a whole memo for the workshop that explained all this
Yeah.
too, so, but once you get into this kind of stuff, it's like, oh, wait, what?
It would have been easier if we could just have one job description and have it tiered within the job description, but that's not the way our system
I know.
works, so you have to have, so that's, and it's fine, it's
Yeah,
what we have,
It's a little more granular, so.
Yes.
Should roll.
Okay, great, all right, thank you, Scott, very much. Item number 20 is, motion to approve the following, appointments and resignations. David Newton, or I'll do.
There's only one. So
There's two out.
What's 2?
David Newton from the Shellfish Commission. The appointment, or a resignation of Robert Newman from the Employee Retirement Board, from the Fireman's Benefit Committee, and from the Police Retirement Board. The appointment of Craig Novak to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee for a term to expire January 1st, 2024. Gail McGrimley, appointment to the Youth and Family Services Board for a term to expire January 1st, 2024. Appointment of Kathy Rasmus to the Youth and Family Services Board for a term to expire January 1st, 2025. Appointment appointment of Kathy McGrady to the Youth and Family Services Board for a term to expire January 1st, 2026. Appointment of Chelsea Lee to the Shellfish Commission alternate for a term to expire January 1st, 2023. And appointment of John Constantino to the Beach and Recreation Commission for a term to expire January 1st, 2023.
So moved.
And the first two with our thanks for their service.
Yes, thank you for their service and thank you for stepping up to volunteer to our new volunteers on these boards. So it's nice to get some of those filled. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, item number 21 is.
I don't think there are.
There are not.
See anything
Yay.
there? Yay, okay.
Go to 22.
All right, now moving on to any citizens' comments, Lauren.
No one has their hand raised.
Okay, great. All right, item number 23 for the public's benefits. We'll be moving to executive session, and so the public will not have access on Zoom, and there'll be no recording of the meeting during the executive session. Then we'll come out to further on the agenda. So can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So I guess Lauren.
Give me a second and
Thanks,
I will get everybody kicked
So
off.
leave me back afterwards, right?
I mean, I think you'll be coming back, or?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, let me,
okay.
yeah, I mean, you can go.
Just hang out back there.
It's up to you, or you can go and I can just, because all I'm gonna do is come back in and restart this recording. And
You gotta go around,
they're all that's left. We're not gonna need to pan back and forth to the audience.
Okay,
so-
so just hit the record then on here.
Okay.
Or here, yeah, just
Yep.
record it. Alright, thanks, I'll see you guys later.
Great, thank you so much.
Anybody mind if I sit here? So
Not
we
one
can-
bit.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Let me just, there's people that are still on that haven't left yet, so let me just get
Sam
them off.
DeBurra, bastard.
And then you can lock down this,
And
right?
then I
So I don't
will-
have to monitor it.
People around that want to come back on, do they understand they have to do it?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Probably
I
not.
just gotta call my son real quick because he's.
Those kids.